Following the terrorist attacks against the United States on September 11, 2001, the U.S. launched a series of military actions, first in Afghanistan that October, then less than 2 years later in 2003, the so-called shock and awe assault on Iraq. The conflict spilled over into Pakistan, Syria, Yemen, and other countries. The toll of those wars has been staggering, accounting for 4.5 million direct and indirect deaths, according to new research from the Costs of War Project at Brown University.
Though the U.S. officially ended its Iraq war in 2011, the repercussions of the 2003 invasion and subsequent occupation continue to have an enormous human, social, economic, and environmental toll.
The Costs of War Project estimates more than 900,000 people have been directly killed during those conflicts, while more than 3.5 million have died from indirect causes, including economic hardships, malnutrition, the destruction of health infrastructure, and environmental contamination, as those caught in the wake of war struggle to survive.
It's a story of violence and destruction, of lawlessness and chaos, suffering, loss of life, injuries, destroyed infrastructure, widespread displacement. But at the same time, the story of the invasion and occupation in the last 20 years is also a story of survival, of coping, of resisting, of trying to continue as, with everyday life, with a sense of dignity.
The report notes many warring parties and many intensifying factors have contributed to these deaths, and the report does not attribute direct responsibility to any single combatant or cause, but many place blame squarely on the shoulders of the U.S.
So the situation in Iraq now is really terrible, and the Iraqis who live in Iraq will live with the consequences of the invasion, sadly. The people who decided to go to war, who wrote articles supporting the war, are going on about their lives and living a very good life. They don't have to live with the consequences of war.
There have been calls for the U.S. to pay direct reparations to those affected by the post-9/11 wars, as well as calls to form some sort of truth and reconciliation panel to hold U.S. policymakers accountable. But perhaps not surprisingly, so far, those efforts have failed to gain traction here in the United States. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Washington.